kindness, there is goodness. And where there is goodness, there is magic.
Hello, and welcome to the very first podcast for Stupid Smart Reviews. I'm your host, Rick, and today we're going to be talking about the new Cinderella film from Disney. It's basically a remake of their 50s classic film, Cinderella, and it was directed by Kenneth Branagh. Now, I'm going to go ahead and read the IMDb summary here so that I don't run off on a tangent. When her father unexpectedly passes away, young Ella finds herself at the mercy of her cruel stepmother and her daughters. No one to give up hope. I really should have read this first. Ella's fortunes begin to change after meeting a dashing stranger. So, that's really vague, but I'm pretty sure everybody knows the story of Cinderella by now, so I'm really not going to spend too much time going over the plot. Instead, let's dive right into the things I thought about the film. So, I really liked the movie overall, considering I didn't really want to see it when I saw the trailers. I really wasn't too interested in yet another Cinderella movie, especially one from Disney, who's already pretty much made a great version of it. I mean, say what you will about the 50s film, and it's, maybe not such a great message for girls to just sit around and wait for someone to come save you. But it kind of gets a bad rap, I think. I think it's a better movie than that. I think the characters are great, the songs are great, animation's great. But anyway, let's get into the cast, which, the new movie. I thought they were just great. Just about everybody was perfectly cast. We had Cate Blanchett doing a great job as the evil stepmother. Lily James as Cinderella. Apparently she's on Downton Abbey. I don't watch that show, so I can't say what character she plays, but she's appealing. I thought she was fine. I thought she was good. And Derek Jacobi is the king, who I was most impressed with. I thought they did a really great job with the king and his son, actually. The guy who plays the prince, let me find his name here. Anyway, here it is, Richard Madden. He was, I mean, I'm going to get into the comparisons to the original film later, but man, they just did a great job of fleshing out their relationship, this father and son thing, and it was surprising, and it was very enjoyable. But more things I loved about the movie included the visuals. I mean, it's a beautiful looking movie, as you would expect from Disney. I mean, they're doing a lot of remakes or reimaginings of their classic properties lately, and it's been a little weird. It's been very CG heavy, and a lot of twists and turns on the original stories, and I guess it was kind of nice to see them just do a straight up remake of one of their stories instead of trying to make it the dark and gritty version of Cinderella or make it about the stepmother. Like, at least they didn't go that route. I haven't seen Maleficent, but I've heard mixed things. The new Alice in Wonderland was just not a very good movie overall. But I'd have to say Cinderella is probably one of the better ones to come out of this. I did not like Oz the Great and Powerful. I know that was not a Disney film, but man, that was a bad movie in a lot of ways. That was a bad movie, Oz the Great and Powerful. But anyway, back to Cinderella. Some more good things are the costumes. I just watched Nostalgia Critic's little review of this movie, and he called the movie costume porn, and I totally agree. This movie is filled with lush costumes, and they're all just gorgeous. It's a beautiful movie to look at. Kenneth Branagh's directing is always, God, the guy directed those beautiful scenes in Thor. I mean, the Asgard stuff. It really looks like from the same man who made this like right after. It's a really gorgeous movie. And Helena Bonham Carter shows up briefly as the fairy godmother, which I wasn't quite expecting either. And it's nice to see her without 5 tons of makeup on. It's I mean, I know some people find her annoying, but I've always liked her. And even though she didn't have the warmth that a fairy godmother might have in other stories, it was still a good little bit role. Um, Special effects are just beautiful for the most part. I mean, CG heavy in some scenes, but mostly it's sets and gorgeous sets at that. It's the kind of movie you kind of just have to turn your brain off and enjoy it for what it is, a very simple fairy tale in the style of maybe more classic Disney. Um, but I have to say it does suffer in comparison to the original Disney film. Um, it feels like kind of like the Amazing Spider-Man, where it kind of struggles to find its reason to exist by changing small things but leaving bigger plot points pretty much intact. Like in both films, actually, Spider-Man and this one, they add a lot more backstory to the characters, and that does flesh them out more, but it doesn't necessarily tell you anything you didn't already know from watching the animated Cinderella. It's just that you get to see it. You get to see her interact with her mother and her father and how their relationship turned her into the person she is. She's always kind and good and, oh, I'll never fight with anybody because that means we're not being kind to each other. And, oh, sure, I'll go stay in the attic because that's kindness. And it was a little confusing because you assume in the Disney film that the stepmother brainwashed her when she was a child, and so kind of makes a little more sense. In this one, she's like 17, and she's like kind of just acting on her parents' last wish, and those wishes are to be kind and good to the stepmother and the stepsisters, and that's why they end up trampling all over her. But I didn't quite buy it as much. Like, you kind of buy more in the animated film that she'd be this kind of person who is subservient, and you get to see a little more personality out of her. This newer film has her a bit bland, I have to admit. Like, I liked her still, but she doesn't seem to have a lot of planning going on in her head. Like, these new Disney princesses all seem to be very proactive, and they all seem to be, like, very forward thinking and super smart and all this stuff, and she's got some of that, but then she doesn't really do much with it. Like, I'll get to the finale. I mean, spoilers if you don't want to know what happens at the end, but she kind of winds up with the prince and all that jazz. But the moment with the slipper, where she pulls it out, and says, "Oh, I have the other slipper." And it's just that great moment in the animated film because she's not saying, "Oh, I have the other slipper." She's saying to the stepmother, "Bet you didn't see that coming, bitch." It's a really great moment, and it was totally missing from this newer film. They tried to, add a little twist, and it was fine, but I think the ending fell a little flat. And that's kind of in regard to almost every aspect. I mean, I loved Cate Blanchett in this. She was great. But then if you go back and watch that original stepmother, my God, she's just evil. I mean, she is to the bone evil. Perfectly evil. That voice actress who also does Maleficent was just so great. And so iconic. I don't see Cate Blanchett's evil stepmother becoming iconic or anything, you know. But anyway, there was another moment I realized this wasn't going to be good as the animated film was when the dress scene where she comes out in her mother's old dress and they're all getting ready to go to the ball, and the two in the animated film, the two stepsisters, see it and they rip the dress to shreds. I mean, it's this kind of emotional, dark scene. I mean, for a Disney family movie, where she's basically getting abused right there, and it's an intense scene for what it is. And in this newer one, the stepmother kind of just comes up to her and rips the shoulder a little and goes, "Oh, it's outdated." And I'm just like, yeah, I'm not really feeling the suffering here. I'm not really feeling the anguish. I mean, don't think I'm some kind of I'm not trying to be a jerk to her, but I need her to be suffering so she can earn her gift that the fairy godmother gives her. And I'm probably over analyzing this film called Cinderella, Disney's Cinderella, but uh, the original animated film is full of emotion, despite its flaws, and this newer film was more interested in showing you pretty things, which it does very well. So, I don't know, whatever's more satisfying for you. I happen to find the original film a lot more satisfying. And one other little nitpick about this film that I didn't really feel quite worked was the mice. They're kind of like these awkward little CGI mice that don't talk, but they're totally like sentient, and she talks to them, and they kind of just like nod their heads and squeak. And I don't know if they were totally necessary, especially because they don't really do much besides, the whole carriage scene and everything where they become horses. But it was just weird to have all this like pseudo realistic stuff mixed with the, totally fantasy elements like that. But that's really, a kind of small thing. I mean, the movie works overall. It's a really nice, you just feel kind of happy while watching it, you don't really think too much. You kind of just let the images wash over you. The camera work is just beautiful, and that's more than I thought I'd get out of this, to be honest, because like I said, I didn't really have any interest in seeing it. But I'm glad I did, and whether or not I'll really watch it again is not something I know right now. But I can recommend it to people who are fans of Cinderella and are fans of just, fairy tale stuff in general. It's a good date movie. It's actually probably a great date movie, and it's a great movie to see with young kids. I mean, the girls in the audience I was with, these little girls were just, they clapped when the slipper went on her foot at the end. I was just like, are you serious? Like, people still clap at movies? It kind of made me happy. Like, I was happy that these like girls who live in this cynical world of people just trying to one up each other, trying to outsmart and trying to be the most jaded person in the room. Yeah, even at that age. I mean, I see it. It's nice that kids can get into something that's kind of sweet and kind of old fashioned in a way. So I would say it's a win. I would say it's a worthwhile movie. I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. Thanks a lot for listening to the very first Stupid Smart Review podcast, and have a great night.
Are you looking for this?